2 more deadly events have been reported in Germany since Sunday, adding to the string of events that have disrupted Germany over the past week.
Syrian refugee with machete has killed a woman in a city in the southwest of Germany.
Well, police have confirmed that a 21-year-old Syrian asylum seeker has been arrested after he attacked people in the street in the town of Reutlingen. It's a small town just outside of the city of Stuttgart. He's left one person dead, another 2 wounded after an attack with a machete. Now, what we are hearing from the police, what they have told us in early statements, is that the 21-year-old Syrian asylum seeker was known to them. They haven't said exactly why he was known to them, but he was a person that they had contact with in the past. Now, the very latest that we're seeing coming out may include that the attack was stopped by somebody driving a car past that was able to stop this attack in some way. It left, as I said, 1 person dead, 1 woman dead, another 2 people injured. It seems that somebody has been able to stop this attack, perhaps with their automobile.
A dozen people have been injured as a bomb blast hits a city in southern Germany.
We were out for a walk and wanted to go to the concert. We turned into the alley to go to the youth center when suddenly we heard a very loud sound, which was like an explosion. I was very shocked as I didn't know what it was. I began running. Then I turned around to see what has happened. Maybe I could help someone. But then came a warning calling us to move in the opposite direction. And then came emergency services and they cordoned off the area.
3 of the wounded are in critical condition. Officials said an explosive device detonated near the entrance to an open-air music festival in Ansbach. Local authorities said the attacker blew himself up after being turned away from the music event. He was a 27-year-old Syrian who had been denied asylum and was believed to have committed suicide or tried to commit suicide twice before. Authorities evacuated 2,500 people from the area. A team of special police forces was dispatched to the area. It is the 4th violent incident in Germany in a week and came as the country is still reeling from a shooting rampage in the city of Munich that left 9 people dead.
Since January, more than 200,000 migrants have arrived in Germany. 4 out of 5 did so without a passport, while in 2015 more than 1 million asylum seekers came to the country, although it's reported only around 30,000 have managed to find a job. The German Chancellor has long spoken of the need to help people fleeing adversity.
Those who flee misery, war, political oppression, we are responsible for helping them whether we want to or not.
Well, as the number of asylum seekers grows, the anti-immigrant and anti-Islam movement known as Pegida has been gaining momentum too.
Crisis is on the minds of many Europeans. A new survey shows more than half believe incoming refugees increase the likelihood of terrorism in their country. The report by the Pew Research Center also reveals worries that displaced people will become an economic burden. More than half of those surveyed in 5 nations say refugees will take away jobs and social benefits, with Hungarians, Poles, Greeks, Italians, and the French citing these threats as their greatest worry. The bottom line, the refugee crisis fueling European fears.
According to the latest figures, 254,736 migrants and refugees have arrived in Europe this year alone. Of that, more than 240,000 traveled by sea, more than 9,000 by land, with 2,977 people presumed dead or missing. there's been a surge in July of the number of people arriving in Europe that's been attributed to better weather conditions. Italy and Greece remain the most affected by the influx of people. Here's a breakdown of the nationalities of the arrivals. To Italy, it's Nigeria, Eritrea, Sudan, Guinea and Cote d'Ivoire. To Greece, it's Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq and Algeria. The land route means that most arrivals end up in Bulgaria. They're from Iraq, Syria and Afghanistan. Libya remains the main staging ground for migrants and refugees. It's estimated that currently 264,014 people are preparing to make the crossing from Libya.
I was in Munich on Friday nights at the gym, and all of a sudden people started running.
And then we heard this on the radio and we understood something bad happened.
We always come here to do shopping. It could be us, it could be anybody. That's why I came.
Munich always felt very safe.
I never had any problem. You can walk at night anywhere.
Gun violence in Munich, you don't hear about it. It's not a thing that people will be frightened about.
It's definitely brought a different mood to the city that I think I've never known.
Many people feel like they're angry or they want to take revenge. I don't think that's the answer.
I think we need better gun control, although I think it's pretty good in Europe overall.
It's very easy to commit gunshot where there is a crowd or a lot of people.
This is a problem we have to understand very deeply, because this boy was born and was raised here, and for some reason something went wrong.
He had the bad luck that he was bullied at school and maybe nobody paid him enough attention, we don't know. He was in treatment, he was mentally ill. That's a dangerous cocktail that could happen anywhere in the world, not just here.
Maybe there is more that we could do in schools to make kids less unfriendly towards each other.
We all have to get on with our lives, we all have to recover.
You have to go out to live your life. Because we are young, we have to go out, have fun.
Within a few hours, really, people were back out on the streets, so they're feeling quite defiant and united.
You can move forward and not forgetting the story. Especially our kids at home need to be taught.
I'm going to explain it to my children, even though they're very young, in a way that they can understand.
It's lovely how many people have come out, and I think it's important for those also not directly involved to have a few moments of reflection.
I feel like we're all responsible for this. So many people coming from everywhere, leaving all the time, and I think that it's an opportunity for people to sit and think what went wrong.
Berlin, senior German officials called on Sunday for a review of Germany's already strict gun laws after Friday's deadly shooting in Munich that claimed the lives of 9 people and the gunman, a deranged 18-year-old who was obsessed with mass killings. Gun control is an important issue. We must continue to do all we can to limit and strictly control access to deadly weapons. German Vice-Chancellor Sigmar Gabriel, leader of the center-left Social Democrats, told Funke Mediengruppe, which owns a series of German newspapers. Gabriel said German authorities were investigating how the German-Iranian dual national had gained illegal access to the weapon, identified by police as a 9mm Glock 17 pistol, the most widely used law enforcement weapon worldwide, despite signs that he had significant psychological issues. Clearly we will have to have a discussion in the near future about whether the current gun control laws are sufficient, said German lawmaker Stefan Mayer, a spokesman for Chancellor Angela Merkel's ruling Conservatives in Parliament. The biggest priority is to combat the illegal arms trade, since that could also reduce crime and terrorism, he said in a statement on Sunday.
Monitoring service Site Intelligence Group said Sunday Al-Qaeda chief Ayman al-Zawahiri has appeared in an audio interview calling on fighters to take Western hostages and exchange them for jailed jihadists. According to Site, in a recording posted online, al-Zawahiri called on the global militant network to kidnap Westerners until they liberate the last Muslim male prisoner and last Muslim female prisoner in the prisons of the Crusaders, apostates, and enemies of Islam.
Tonight, the security breach at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. We're just learning about newly released video raising more criticism about the TSA. A man with no ticket bypassing security and boarding the plane.
It is shocking for just how easy it looks. Newly released surveillance video shows the man, no luggage, no ticket, at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. He simply jogs through a closed, unmanned checkpoint, breezing past a TSA agent looking at his phone.
It is serious. There are multiple violations going on.
25-year-old Demarius Cochran made it all the way onto a plane bound for Guatemala. Finally, a gate agent pulling him off the plane, escorting him to police.
It could have something that he could inflict deadly force on another person.
TSA has been under fire for other security lapses. An internal test found that undercover agents were able to sneak fake weapons and explosives past the TSA in 67 out of 70 attempts. Cochran was unarmed but charged with criminal trespassing in last summer's incident. In a statement, the TSA says they have made adjustments to checkpoints at DFW, adding glass panel barriers and other enhancements to physical security.
Now to safety matters. How well can Vermont respond to any situation thrown its way? That's the question state leaders hope to answer through a mass emergency response exercise.
It should be the biggest drill ever held in Vermont, and it's just a week and a half away.
Yeah, Lauren, Joe, the exercise is being called Operation Vigilant Guard. It's taken over 3 years to develop, and it'll include response groups at every level of government in Vermont. Now, they'll utilize different structures in different areas throughout the state, including the one you see behind me.
We have to practice, we have to plan, we have to be prepared.
That's why Operation Vigilant Guard was created.
Vigilant Guard is designed to challenge us, and when I say us, I mean the entire state.
Vermont's Director of Emergency Management, Chris Herrick, was joined by Vermont's top leaders at Camp Johnson in Colchester Wednesday. The group explained the ins and outs of what will be the state's biggest emergency response.
We'll be doing some hazmat operations, there'll be some urban search and rescue. And frankly, I don't know a lot more because the planning staff doesn't want anybody who's participating to know.
Herrick says responders at the state, local, and federal level will participate in a 9-day exercise happening in many different communities around the state. From Vermont State Police, community EMS groups, the State Health Department, even FEMA, the exercise is designed to include as many groups as possible.
It's important when we're trying to save lives and deal with crises to have rehearsed, to have figured out who does what when.
More than 4,000 first responders and another 200 public actors will make up the event. Leader of the Vermont National Guard, General Stephen Cray, says the focus is to gauge and grade how well these groups work together, including his own.
We do a lot of training for our federal mission to respond to the national security needs of this nation. We don't get a lot of opportunity to train with our local, state, and local first responders.
In other parts of the country, Governor Peter Shumlin says exercises like this have gotten negative feedback, people claiming they're just expensive games. He says that's not the case for Vermont.
When you have as much devastation and loss as we had, I don't think many Vermonters would argue that we shouldn't be prepared.
Operation Vigilant Guard will start July 25th and run through August 2nd, so expect a lot of increased activity around the state. It's got a price tag of $570,000, but it is being funded by the federal government.
Police said Sunday a Northern California police officer was shot while sitting inside a patrol car after a traffic accident. Oakland Police Department said in a statement the department's supervisor, who was not injured, was responding to a call at about 9:30 p.m. local time Saturday. The department said shortly after the traffic collision, a male suspect approached the supervisor's vehicle and fired a round, striking the patrol vehicle. The officer was taken to a local hospital for evaluation. The shooting suspect is still being searched for by police.
People across this country have expressed concern over recent violence across this country and also abroad. But one Loris business owner's response offended some veterans.
While the News 13 viewer sent the picture that you see in the monitor behind me, it's of the American flag flying upside down at a Loris diner. Today I spoke to the owner who says it's been that way for the last 3 weeks. He made the decision to take it down this week, though, after a complaint, but he says the message behind it remains. Each day, people around the United States pledge allegiance to this flag. So when someone saw it flying upside down at a Loris restaurant, it raised questions.
In the U.S. code, the flag code, it says that the Union should never be displayed down unless you feel that there is dire distress. And I believe that our country is in dire distress right now with everything going on.
Ernie Ross is the owner of Ernie's Hometown Diner. He says he made the decision to turn the flag upside down after what's happened in places like Dallas, Louisiana, France, and even here in Horry County.
There's people dying left and right for no reason whatsoever. None. It's senseless. It's pointless. Young kids are dying.
But not everyone supported his decision. Some veterans were offended to see the flag that way, so Ross quickly removed it.
Like my wife said, we're not here to hurt anybody. We changed it. We took the flag down, we flew the Christian flag. So when people go by now and see the Christian flag flying, all we're asking them to do is to take 5-10 minutes and pray for our country. Pray for our servicemen, pray for our police officers, pray for our firefighters. People that's there to protect me, you, and everyone around us.
A message of love, Ross says, is needed for any change to happen.
Let's get back on track. Let's think of our neighbor. Let's love each other again. Quit the hating. The hating has to stop. There's no hope. There's no future if there's hate.
Wisconsin-based organization is calling for Bryan County to remove the Christian flag from the main courtroom, claiming it violates the separation of church and state. The Freedom from Religion Foundation sent a letter to the clerk of court telling them to remove the flag that's on display behind the judge's bench. Our Elizabeth Rollins joins us live from the Bryan County Courthouse. And Elizabeth, this has generated a lot of conversation on social media. But how did this all come about?
Well, according to foundation officials, they received a complaint as well as pictures from someone who had actually seen that flag. The Freedom from Religion Foundation is a Wisconsin-based group. They're a nonprofit. Their purpose is to ensure separation of church and state within government and municipalities across the nation. I spoke to one of the attorneys on the phone. She could not say who filed that complaint, but this was the first one they've received about the flag. She explained the county courthouse is where people of all religions and no religion have to appear before court. A flag like this may make it seem as if Bryan County will favor some over others.
We've heard many times that these people who don't like to see Christian symbols promoted by the government can just look the other way or not look at it. But we don't see that as a valid response to the fact that the county is breaking the law, and courts have not viewed that as a valid response or solution either.
Well, a new report is out stating that the Russians actually bombed a secret CIA base over there in Syria. This story comes to us courtesy of Fox News. They are reporting that Russian warplanes reportedly bombed a secret military base in Syria used by elite American and British forces last month. According to the Wall Street Journal, they stated on Thursday that the Russian strike on the CIA-linked site was part of a campaign by Russia to pressure the White House to agree to closer cooperation in the Syrian skies in the U.S. military with U.S. military and intelligence officials. It says here, despite the fact that some forces could have been killed and the bombing has now dampened relations between Russia and the Pentagon and the CIA, as well as the White House and the State Department. However, they're still pursuing a compromise. They state here that U.S. and Russia agreed to a pact last week to target airstrikes against the al-Qaeda affiliate in the region, the Nusra Front, despite objections from the Pentagon and the CIA. It says here that Russia agreed to stop airstrikes on U.S.-backed rebels and restrain the Syrian air campaign. However, the two sides are still talking about the designations where Russia would need U.S. approval to conduct an airstrike.